Hi everyone, it's Heidi from flutterbyheidi.co.uk. I'm Heidi Smith. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator based in the United Kingdom, and today I thought we'd have a little bit of a play around with the In the Moment stamp set and some vellum and some blender pens to give ourselves a bit of a fun kind of alcohol background sort of sunset effect. So it's really simple. I'm no expert, but I just thought it was a really fun way to create a lovely effect. I've used the stitched rectangles to create a frame. So to do that, I just have just cut and out one, added the other one in to just create a nice frame there. I've used polished pink here. You're going to want a card base as well. So I've actually cut this because of the size of the stitch rectangles. This is 14 by 21, scored in half at 10.5. So that's going to be our sort of card base. But let's get on with the technique. So you are going to need a piece of vellum, and a lovely Stampin' Up! Vellum is super thick. You're going to need a selection of Stampin' Blends. And you're going to need some stays on as well to stamp your image in. So so let's get started. So all I'm going to do is simply lay down some colour to start off with in just sort of a variety of ones. So I'm just using some Night of Navy kind of for the water. I've added some Daffodil Delight there for the sort of sun in the centre. This is some Cajun Craze. I'm not attempting to blend these, I'm just kind of adding them around the outside because we're going to use the ink, the alcohol to blend those. So just add those in. Bit of Blackberry Bliss going on is the final colour here. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, you're going to want your heat gun to hand, and I'm just going to add some alcohol to kind of start to get these colours to move around. And blend. And as it dries, as you use your heat gun, those are going to kind of dry together. Each time you do them, it's going to be quite different. Don't be tempted to, as I have done in the past, put too much on at one go. You're better to put a smaller amount on. Allow it to move a little bit. And then come in to get the blend. And I say, all as you can see, I'm sort of working in areas, trying not to get them too muddy, so kind of keep the colours nice and separate. Where it's not blended too much, you can just move that around. And then sort of dry it and have a look at it, so turn it over and see what you think. So yeah, hopefully you got some of that. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to add some into these bits here that haven't sort of covered the background as much, and just moving that around a little bit before drying it off. And then I've kind of got a bit of a line down here, so I'm just going to add a little bit here. So if you want sort of a hard line, then you dry quickly. If you want it sort of softer and more blended, then allow it to sort of move a little bit. And then once you've got that effect, what you can come in and do is, if you want the sun to be a little bit more of a circle, just to come in and just literally, as you can see, sort of scribble with a pipette in the middle there. Just to get that central bit piece. And then, if you turn it over, you then get the effect there. So now what I'm going to do is actually stamp my image. As I said, use your stays on. Don't forget to keep that plastic, because that really helps keep your stays on really working well. Really ink it up well with stays on. And then choose a spot where you want your image. And I'm going to sort of choose this spot over here, sort of slightly lighter. And there we go, there's my image. And now what I'm going to do is, on the reverse, I'm just going to lighten that slightly. So I'm going to come in with a bit of the alcohol around the image and just dab away, so that I've kind of got, taking away some of the colour around my person, like that. Okay. So you'll see on the front now it's slightly lighter. That means that you can now come in, but before we do that, we're going to clean our stamp. Really important with stays on that you get in and clean it straight away. You can see there, just give it a really good dose of our stays on cleaner. Mop that, and then very quickly come in, and this is one of the few occasions where I actually advocate using a baby wipe, but I just want to make sure that is nice and clean. So, and then I will use my stamp cleaner to properly clean that later. So as I said, you can see that we've got this lovely image that we can now colour with our blends. So I'm going to come in and colour her hat. And the lovely thing about this is, because you're colouring through reverse, you haven't got to be precise. I'm just using some soft suede there for her hair. I'm going to add a bit of Blackberry Bliss for the dress. Use the brush tip to lay on the colour. And I say, you're just adding the outline. They're quite sort of sketchy images. And once that's dry, you can then come in and add a little more detail where those extra lines are. Add a bit of detail to her belt. Come up. And then for her arms, I'm just actually going to use the ivory there, just to sort of blend that out a little. And obviously you could use our skin tones. The new natural tones are absolutely fabulous for this. And then turn it over. You'll see you've got your pretty lady on the front there. So all we need to do now is actually die cut that to fit with the size that we've used for our outer. So I'm just going to come in, and as I said, I've already cut a frame. So you want one that is the same size as that frame, or just a smidgen smaller, just to fit on the inside of that there. I find using one that is slightly smaller works better for me, because that way you don't have to worry about getting it absolutely precisely in place. But I'm just sort of lining up the square here, putting my tape on the outside, and then we'll quickly die cut that. And as I say, I've used the 99% isopropyl alcohol for this. I find that, or I am finding, because I'm really just sort of playing around with this, I'm finding that works. Now obviously you could always keep these scraps for other techniques as well if you wanted to. just pop your nail in there, lift that up. Okay, so now I'm going to use some of our tear and tape. You could use tear and tape, or you could use red tape, or you could use Stampin' Seal Plus. But what you want to do is you want to get an edge around there. I'm actually going to use some red tape. Just make sure you're adding it to the rear. Ask me how I know. Like I always say, you get the whole thing, warts and all. But I have been known, I have put it on the front instead by mistake. So I'm using red tape just to help me with this, because I just find that because it's quite a narrow frame, the Stampin' Seal Plus is just the width of that frame, and because I'm a bit clumsy, I might end up going over the edge. I'm going to pop just some what they call bunny ears, so I'm just folding a bit of that tape back just to help me remove that in a moment. And then I'm going to just lay this the other way up. In the centre. So the bunny ears just allow you to sort of grab the edges there and make sure it's nice and squared up. And then you can just peel that away. And then I'm using some of our fabulous adhesive strips. So if you haven't seen these foam adhesive strips, they are great if you want to kind of create a window type effect, because all you're going to do is you just cut a strip, peel it off, and then the whole of that edge is beautifully supported. Great for shaker cards if you like doing shaker cards, obviously. But in this instance, I might have cut that a little long. Yeah, just snip a little bit off. But just again, you know, it's like all the adhesives. There's a job for every bit. So once you've done that, I'm going to add that to the front of your card, and so I've used a pale colour, but something that echoes the colours in the card. You don't want anything too dark. By the same token, I found that white was just a little bit near, you know, a bit near. But I didn't want to have DSP in there either. So just centre that. We're going to take that same image and just grab some Sahara sand. Actually, I'll use my other image. Stamp it off once and then into the corner, just to give that little watermark effect. Add some adhesive. And then you can go and tidy up. Just pop that on the inside there. Oh, and again, this is, I actually made this too wide. So my card, but basically, I've used one of my usual ones. I've not trimmed it down. So my usual layers are 14 by 10.5, whereas this one just needs to be slightly smaller. So there we have a pair of alcohol ink backgrounds. Yeah, I'm going to say that they never come out exactly the same, but I think that's what's so lovely. You could obviously stamp a sentiment over here, or hand cut one as well afterwards, or leave it till you decided who you're going to give it to. Thanks for watching. Do come back and see me again soon, and if you'd like to purchase any of the products you've seen today, just pop along to my blog at flutterbyheidi.co.uk to follow the links, or click on the arrow next to the description bar below this video, because all the information you need is in there as well. Thanks for watching. Bye now.